Hey,
I think more people
they better.
they're talking to Sally. I think Brian's coming and Chris.
Okay. Everyone has the workbook?
Yes.
Perfect. So she comes back to the rest of this perfect. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and get started real quick. Okay, my name is Moskowitz. I'm teaching today, which I think is the most important class of the program, because without this class, nothing else matters. Because it's all about lead generating, finding clients, setting up a database that we're gonna work, and then how do we follow up with them? And if we're not willing to do that, we're in deep, deep trouble. And so this is the most important thing. Any reason, whatever reason you got into real estate, you have to do this class, so that you have a business to show houses, help people decorate and make money. So this is an extremely important class. At the end of the class, it is an hour and a half, the last half hour, making it a 2-hour class. I'm just going to go over different role plays. Whatever you guys want, I'll talk to you about how I'll do a role play, following up with someone, getting someone, what I say in different situations, on doing that, and then anything you want me to role play, I'm happy to do, because that's the biggest problem people have, is they do not know what to say and what to do. So real quickly, introduce yourself and how long you've been in the business.
I'm Keiko. I've been in the business since December. I have a interior design background, which I was doing before I still do actually, but
Okay, perfect,
full path now. Megan, I started right when the pandemic started.
perfect. I started in a really bad market and I'm still here. So if you can learn to sell in a bad market, then you can sell in any market. When the market turns around, that's really good. Then you got great skills.
Kirsten, like 2 weeks.
Perfect.
Catherine, and I started in July.
Okay,
Carlos, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Excellent. Well, welcome. We're gonna go ahead and get started. And go to the next one. Who's Emmy? You know what? It's not going to the next thing, slide or whatever. Can you come rescue me? Right, I hit. Eric, can you just come here? Thank you. Okay, so I'm Mark Buff, like I said, I've been doing this for 28 years. When I started, I built my whole career from lead generation. When I first started, I didn't grow up out here, and so I'm a CPA, so I was a controller at Central Westside. My family walked into the business, became the sales manager, but I never sold. And so they just went, why are we going to listen to Mark when he hasn't sold? And so it was a challenge, and I'd take them to different seminars, and I would see how much money these guys were making. And I'm going, wait a minute, I want to be a salesperson. So I set that up. But like I said, I grew up in West LA, never lived out here, didn't have a sphere out here. So I started by cold calling and door knocking and calling expires. And within a year and a half, I was a top agent in a borough. I had sold more units than anyone else. Now, Sherry Park was still around, and that was daughter taking over most of the business. She did the high-end property, so she did more buying than I did. I did more units than she did. Okay. Now, I had to get to Westlake or Thousand Oaks. I didn't even know how to find it. I would have to have my assistant. We had map books or Comsky. Would have to print out the pages from the office and make sure there was a freeway, so I knew how to get there. So you guys are lucky, just put it in your phone and your phone will tell you how to get there in this piece of cake. Didn't have that back then. And so I did everything in the Torres in the park. So I started off and I would call for 3 hours every single day. And Kyle would give us phone numbers. We did not have a caller IDs, and nobody knew who was calling. We did not have a do not call list. So they would give us phone numbers by streets. So I would call up and down the street and do that. I got into coaching right away, and my coach says if you do not have an appointment that day, you have to do another hour of lead gen. And I said, shoot, I've been on the phone too much already. I cannot do that again. So I started door knocking. And I would door knock the same houses I was calling. And people would say, oh, Mark, you just called me. And I go, I know, I wanted to introduce myself. And I knew I was either doing a just listed or a just sold. And so if I was doing a just listed, I wanted to introduce myself and wanted to see if you found someone for that house. Okay, and then they would laugh and they go, now you have a flyer on the house. So if you think of someone, you can call me. And we just all great. And I just wanted to see if after we talked last night, if you decided, you woke up in the middle of the night thinking you wanted to sell, so I came to the door just to check. And I would get them to laugh. So if we're gonna do this all the time, we have to have a sense of humor and we have to have fun with it. You cannot do 3-4 hours of lead generating and not have fun. It gets very monotonous and it can get very boring. So I made it fun. People remember me. Now, back when I was in Century 21, they had 40% market share. Now they're almost gone. And so that was, like I said, 28 years. I was there for 18 years, I've now been here 10 years. And so what I would do is I did that. And then people would say, oh, Mark, we're thinking of selling. And they go, well, we have an agent. And I would say, almost everyone does have an agent. And this was a really tough market at the time. People were not selling. And I go, so when was the last time your agent came to your door to see if you were going to make a move? And I go, they never come. I go, exactly. The market's kind of different right now. I'm not sitting in the office hoping someone calls me. I'm out here being very aggressive, trying to find buyers for our clients' listings. Do you think that can make a difference for you guys? And they would say yes. And I go, that's exactly right. I would like to talk to you, show you what we do, so you can compare what I do with your other agent. And if they can do a better job, by all means, list it. However, if they can't do a better job, then you'll have the opportunity to work with us and we'll get your home sold for you. And so when we come to these Century 21 meetings, and I was in the Westlake office, there wasn't a Gura office. I was only doing Gura no park, so there's no park, and I couldn't even, and I knew where a Gura was, so I had to drive to a Gura to get to a park, so I knew that. I didn't know where anything else was. So I just stayed there, and that's how I learned the market. And I'd come to the caravan meetings, and I'd be pitching my new listing. Shoot, that was supposed to be my list. Oh, shoot. And very quickly, because I was very consistent and persistent at doing it. Now, the thing was, I had 2 little kids. I've always had a salary, and this was the first time I went to commission. And my wife is a preschool teacher. So as a preschool teacher, back then, probably making $20,000, can a family of 4 survive on that living out here? I sure hope you say no. So I have a lot of pressure on me to make this thing work.
Yeah.
I had a big why, and we're gonna talk about that on Friday, we do goal setting. So I had to figure it out, and not making it was not an option. So I was determined to make it work and did it every single day, and that was my job. And some days I actually did 5 or 6 hours, it would be 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, but I had nothing else to do. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we're going to talk about for you to be successful. Okay, let me ask you, I'll ask you a question. So to be successful in real estate, what do you think is one of the most important things you need to know? Who would like to volunteer?
How to talk to clients,
Okay, that's a good one, but we need something before that.
how to generate leads.
We need something before that. What else? Knowledge of the market. The biggest reason why you don't talk to people is you don't know what to say and you don't know the market. If you learn the market, then you have something to talk about, right? So knowledge of the market is the most important thing. So in our, Terry went over yesterday, you're supposed to write 10 note cards. How many homes are you supposed to preview a week? Way too low. I think you need to do 10 a day. Now, I'm going to tell you, of that 10 a day, you can do 20 a week in person, 30 on the computer. But you got to be looking at properties every single day.
It's
Yeah.
really hard to hear on the Zoom. I don't know if there's a way to improve that. Sorry.
Okay. You know where it is?
No, I just always see the pool.
They always just reach in there.
They go in there and come out with it.
Right, exactly.
There.
You hear me? You hear me now?
Oh, that's
Can
so
you hear
much
me now?
better. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, okay. Good thing we didn't get too
much
started. Okay, so I'm gonna
better.
first of all, how to preview property. So back when we started, we would do caravanning and we would go look at property. Okay, and we would see. So back then, remember, this is 25 years ago, properties were a lot cheaper. So we would go see a $200,000 house in Agora, and then you would see a $100,000 condo, and then you see a $300,000 house, and you'd see a $75,000 condo, and everything was in a different neighborhood. Can you learn the market that way? No, you cannot. It was so confusing and I had nothing to compare. So this is how we're going to preview property to make this thing work. Okay. I want you to look at 10 properties at a time. I don't care if you do it in 1 day or 2 days, but you look at 10 properties. And I want you to do it by price point. So if I'm looking in Agora, because that's what I want to learn, and don't try and learn the whole market, learn one area first, get a good understanding, and expand on that. So now let's say I'm going in Agora, I'm going to look at 10 properties, okay? And so I'm going to look at everything in Agora under 400,000. So I'm going to look at just condos. If there isn't 10 properties under 400,000, then I may have to go up to 500,000. And when you go out and you look at those different properties, I want you to look for the one that you think is the best if it's all done. And then I want you to find one property that is the best value. If I'm willing to put a little sweat equity, if I paint it, add some carpet to it, then I get the best value. Because their clients want 1 or 2 properties. They want it all done, or they want to do some work, is how this works. Your name was? Chris. So now Chris is talking to me and I say to Chris, or I'll do it the other way. So I run to Chris, and I'm new, but I've been doing my previewing, and Chris says, hey, gosh, I'd love to get an investment property under 500,000. Oh my God, Chris, I just saw the best property yesterday. I saw this one. It is so cute. It's all redone. You could actually start renting it out tomorrow, and it's only $435. It's probably going to sell like in the next day. Can you are you available to see it today?
Yes.
Okay. Does he know that I'm brand new? Can I be excited talking about that property because I just saw it yesterday or today? That's the key. Now I run into Chris and he goes, I want something for 400,000. I'm not sure if there's anything out there. Okay, let me go back to the office and see what's available. Does that give Chris confidence to talk to me? Exactly. When we know property, we know what's going on, they don't ask you if you're brand new. Okay, so now Chris knows that. And then he says, or I say to Chris, or there was this other property that was 450. It actually gives you 2 more bedrooms, but it definitely needs to be repainted and put new flooring in. Would you rather have the one that's all done or a little bit of a project?
All done.
Okay, perfect. And then I can tell them about that. So now by having that, I know what to talk to people. So back in the day when you could do door knocking before COVID, if I was going to door knock a neighborhood, I would know what is on the market. Okay, so you cannot go out knocking on doors, talking to people without knowing what's going on in the neighborhood. If I'm doing circle prospecting, I would preview all the houses, whether you do it in person or on the computer. Today, I've been in so many different floor plans, I don't need to physically preview. I can just do it on the computer and I can tell the difference. Does that make sense? Okay, now the next day, you're gonna go up. Okay, so what is that gonna do is it's gonna create value for you. You're gonna know, you saw 10 houses, you saw one house that was a really good deal and you saw 3 houses. Oh my God, these people are crazy. This home needs so much work and they're trying to get $450 for a condo that hasn't been upgraded when I can buy this one for $450 that's been all redone. That's how you learn value when you're comparing similar houses and prices to see what's a good deal. Make sense? Then the next time, then go from 450 to 550, whatever it is, and just keep going up 100,000. Now, if I'm doing houses in Agura right now, this is how I want you to look at this. I want you to start to look at if we're looking at houses, look at the master bathroom. What do you get? Look at the kitchen, look at the vaulted ceilings. So in Agura, the original houses are Hillrise, Lakeland Darrow, and Fountainwood, okay? And what you're gonna get there is houses that have 1 stall shower, a toilet, and one sink in the master bathroom. That's what you get. Then when we went into the 80s, you started to see some houses that had double sinks. You started to see bigger bathrooms, so maybe more of a walk-in closet. Okay, as you got into the 90s, you started to see a lot more vaulted ceilings, a really nice master bathroom. Maybe the kids' bedrooms were a little bit smaller because they gave it all in the master. In the 70s, the kitchen was more a very small kitchen. 80s, they started to get a little bit better. 90s, they probably had an island in it and were much better. Start looking at that and learning those values. So when I come to you and I say, I want this for 800,000, and I can say to you, well, great, for 800,000, I can get you a 4-bedroom home in an older neighborhood, or I can get you a 3-bedroom home in a newer neighborhood. What's important? Now I'm talking more intelligently, and I know what to say to people. Does that make sense? Yeah. So start noticing those things. We're not there just looking at pretty houses. We have to start to become the expert of the area. That's why I want you previewing property and seeing. Now, if you go to Agura, the entry-level condos are the Annandales. Back when I started, it was very slow. There could be 30 properties on the market in that complex. Today, there's probably 4. And so when I went out, the first time I went to the property, I would look for 10 minutes in the place and I got to know it. Then all of a sudden, the 3rd and 4th one I saw was in the same unit. Do I need to look at that for 10 more minutes? Please say no.
No.
Hopefully I'm smart enough that the first, oh, it's the same floor plan. Now I'm going to compare. Oh, did they upgrade the kitchen? What kind of flooring did they put in? That's what you want to start distinguishing as we're doing it. When I'm doing CMAs, that's all I'm looking on the computer Did they put in granite? Is it new kitchens? Oh, and I'm starting to compare, how does my house compare to the other ones based on upgrades? So I know how to price it well, the location, the lot. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's going to give you the confidence to go out and role play. So we're now getting into what successful agents do every day. Number one says lead generate for buyers and sellers. That is our job. Nothing else is our job. We need to find clients. If you do not like talking to people, unfortunately, you're in the wrong business. Okay? You like decorating, become a decorator. Do not. If you like decorating, but you don't like talking to people, then you should not be a realtor. Okay? I'm going to tell you very clearly what you need to do, because if you do not make it in this business, it's not because you were not told, because you chose not to do it. Okay. Number two, make seller listing presentations and getting listings. The key is we got to go on appointments. We lead generate, we stay in touch with people to get appointments. It is not just to talk to people. Without appointments, we can't go anywhere else. Number three, make a buyer presentation and get a buyer listing, okay? And then four, preview real estate. In the beginning, previewing real estate is equally important to lead generating, because without the previewing and the knowledge of the market, you're not going to know what to do. And if you preview and you get to know the market the way I told you to, in a very short period of time, you will have the confidence of what to say to people, because you've been in there. And when you know why this home sold and why this home didn't sell, that's the biggest piece you're missing right now. Any questions on that? Okay, so any questions?
I have.
Okay.
My question is, how do we choose the area? Is
Okay.
it supposed to be exactly the farm that we get from Michelle?
From Sally or?
From the lady at the.
Oh, from the title person?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in 1 second, okay? Who else has a question? Yep.
So the two types of properties you want us to specifically look at are more just.
Homes that are, you're gonna look at 10 properties. When you go out, I want you to analyze which is the best. If I was gonna buy a property today, which would be my first choice if it was all fixed up and if it was more of a fixer. I'm not looking for houses that have structural problems, because then that's for a contractor. And most clients don't want structural defects, but they don't mind painting a little bit of carpet and stuff like that. And you'll see all of a sudden, you can find a great deal. Wow, this house, if you take the wallpaper off and clean it up, all of a sudden you spend $10,000, it could be worth $40,000 more. Okay? But I want you making sure previewing property is higher up there. And so that's what I did. I would preview property in the middle of the day and cold call in the morning, and then door knock at the end of the day.
Mark,
And let me finish this one thought. And what else do I have to do all day? Well, take Sally's classes and come in here for Ignite. Yes.
With previewing property right now during COVID, obviously, like if there is someone in the house.
Okay, so let's change it. You're right.
More for empty house.
It is, okay, you're right. So now that, but I want to teach you, as soon as you guys can get out there and go in, you got to get in, because you got to start understanding this. Okay. And then even if you start looking at vacant houses, you can get in a little bit and start seeing different neighborhoods and things like that. That is important. Okay. So yes, you can do it by just looking on the computer, but start looking at the different price points and start looking at the ages, because you're going to see from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to 2000, what are the differences? That's what you got to get to know. And so when someone says to me, Mark, oh, I want to buy a house and I want this, this, and this, and I want to pay $800,000, it doesn't exist. Great.
Do you think it's appropriate when it says vacant go direct right now that we?
Yeah, you can fill out a PED real quick.
For yourself and just go?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, for yourself.
It's not rude to the agent to.
No, they don't. person was me, hey, I have a client, I want to see if it's gonna, they want me to go by and look at it for them.
Okay,
You can do that.
Okay.
Look, we got to get the knowledge somehow, the best we can. So I'm going to be polite. So yes, it's kind of hard, you're right, if people are in the house right now, but I think you got to get out and get into houses or be looking online the best you can to get this information, but start looking. But I want you to really look at bathrooms and how they compare. Does it have a shower and a tub? Does it have two sinks or one sink? Is it a small galley kitchen or is it a bigger kitchen? These are what you need to know as a realtor. And you can get a lot of that online. Now look, when I started, I don't think we could put more than 10 pictures in. Now you can have 900 pictures. So it's a lot easier to tell. And we didn't really have professional photographers, or if they weren't that good. They're much better today on what they can do. And today we can Photoshop them so they look even better. We didn't have that back then. Okay, so that's a good question. Okay, now coming back to an area, it used to be you want to look and see what the turnover is. Out here, the turnover rate is very low. People are staying in there. Back then, people would move every 5 to 7 years. Now people are moving every 12 to 13 years. People are staying in their houses a lot longer. So the farm is less valuable today. And so what we're going to get to in a little bit is when we're talking about the farm. Okay, so in the original Red Book, MREA, they said for everyone in our database, we would do one deal. For every 100 people, we should be able to get 6 people that would do direct business with you and 6 people that they will refer to you, okay? So you would get 12 deals front. They didn't, so they did it, they would do 12, they do 12 to 2 because we don't know what they're gonna give you. And I could give you, hey, I wanna work with you, Mark, and I wanna tell you about my friend that I wanna move. So the one person can give you both. Today, they're saying, if we're doing it right, you're going to get 1/3 that are going to work with you directly and 2/3 that are going to be referrals because people are staying so much longer. But we got to really have a relationship. Okay, so let's jump over here for a second. And then running our business is marketing and selling listings, showing buyer houses, negotiating contracts, transaction management to closing, vendor management, so the people that we're working with, title, escrow, etc., termite. For us, a big part is who we use for painting and flooring when they need that. And then compliance, risk management, doing training and managing our money. What do you think is more important? Growing our business or running our business? Because if we can't grow it, we have nothing to manage, right? And so the problem with real estate is we can be extremely business running the business and stop growing the business. And you can only become a top agent if you can do both. So my job is I'm doing my calls every single day. I've been doing calls. I had to do something with Terry this morning at escrow. So I started at 10. I did 2 hours. Took a half an hour break to handle some stuff, did another half hour, and then after class, I'm gonna go back and do more. But yesterday, I did 5 hours of calling. Any questions on this? Okay, so we're talking obviously here, we're doing the lead generation model. We're starting off with lead generation first. Okay, so looking at the big picture of this, and the key to this section right here is that without lead generating and having someone to work with, we can't do anything. So right now, where do you think people get their business from? What do you guys think?
Referrals?
I'm sorry, what?
Referrals?
Okay, referrals. Online. Okay, what else? Well, what's the easiest place to get business from?
Friends and family.
I'm sorry, what?
Friends and family.
Yes, friends and family, people we know, right? And how many people do we think we know that are going to do business with us right now?
People who know us, friends and family.
Right, but I'm saying, but how many do you think that is? Is that a big, if we had is that a big group or a small group? It's a fairly small group. And so what happens a lot of time is we get into real estate, we really work it, and all our friends that are thinking of doing something, we do with it that first year. And then the second year we go down because we don't have anyone else to call, correct? So we have to work the people we don't know. And that's the key is how do I stay in touch with the people I know and grow it for the people I don't know? Does that make sense? Okay, that's really important is the growing side, and we constantly got to be growing the business. Let me catch up for a second. Okay, so like you said back, I want me to tell you one thing on the one before. The biggest thing is to add this leaves clues, okay? So we're using models in here and we're using the lead generation model, and these are based on what other top agents have done, what Gary's come up with. And so I got in here, when I first got into real estate, it was all about lead generation, and that's what I did. And I tracked my numbers. So I need you guys to keep track. How many people did you talk to? So what I used to do is I would keep track of one, how many attempts I made, how many people I got a hold of, and how many leads did I get, okay? And so, and we're gonna change the definition when we get into this a little bit. So what I did as a lead was a little bit different. So people who were actually gonna do something. So back then I knew if I door knocked, I could get 25 to 30% of the people would open their doors to me. Okay, it was actually a very good number. And on cold calling, I could get about 20% of the people to pick up the phone. Today, it's closer to 10%. However, when I'm doing my calls now to my database, I probably get at least 20 to 30% because they'll see my number on the ID and they'll pick it up, or I'll start to leave a message, oh, Mark, it's you, and then they will pick up the phone and talk to me. Or if I leave a message, they will call me back because I have a relationship with these people and I'm giving them value. Any questions on that? Okay, so today, what we're going to do in this lead generation is we're going to teach you how to lead generate. Then we're going to go over the database, and then we're going over the sales pipeline, which is how we follow up. Anything else? Is there anything else in this that you guys would like me to cover when we come to lead generation? Okay. Okay, so the key is, as I was saying, because people aren't just calling us to do it, we have to go out there and be a lot more proactive in generating business. And so that comes down to two things. And we have what we call prospecting, and we have, oh, I went the wrong place, sorry. We did that. Okay, so we have prospecting and marketing here. Prospecting is where I actively go out and I am looking for leads. Marketing is where I'm mailing, I'm sending, running Facebook ads, waiting for people to contact me. Which do you think is faster? Prospecting. So the idea of Keller Williams is that we're prospecting based, meaning that's what we do first, and we're marketing enhanced. Okay, what do you think marketing enhanced means?
Supplement with ads or flyers or social media.
Okay, so let's think about this for a moment. If I pick a farm and I just mail to it, okay, so I'm marketing based, I'm doing marketing as my main way of doing that, and I just am mailing to this area, how successful do you think that's going to be?
Not very.
Okay, why do you think it's not going to be very successful?
I'm not the only one managing that.
Okay. Okay, what else?
No relationship created.
There's no relationship. So they got a card, they don't know who you are, and so it comes and it's easy to toss away, correct? So the problem is we can do that, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to get established, correct? So how many people have a ton of money, and that's why you got it into real estate, because you had tons of money? Okay, that's not what most people have. So that's why I did prospecting. What did I do? I mean, I was wearing out a pair of shoes every 6 months, doing so much door knocking. Okay, and occasionally, back then I would always door knock with a jacket. And then a few times I would get my pocket caught in rose bushes. And so then I stopped wearing jackets, but I started at 29. So I was younger. I wanted to look more professional. So I dressed up. And then now if I door knock, I just door knock in a button down shirt and slacks. If it's really hot, then I'll use like a polo shirt. But I never wear a jacket. I never wear a tie. But I now know what to say and what to do. But that was it. And then I would have flyers only. And if you're going out, you always want to leave them something, even if they're not home. Okay, and that's what I did instead of mailing. Well, the idea of marketing enhanced is if I'm going to do that once a quarter or every month, every other month, I need them to get to know me. So that's why I would then start through success. I put a certain money away from each transaction, and I would use part of that for marketing. And then this way they would get something in between. So it was as if I was always out there. They were constantly seeing my name. Does that make sense? So marketing enhanced is to remind them once they know you. So if I go out today and I knock on your door and you and I'm sorry, your name again was? Carlos. So Carlos, I knock on your door today, or I have a phone call conversation with you. And we talk and I'm answering your question. I'm telling you about what's going on in the market. Are you going to, and I hand you a flyer with my name on it. Are you going to remember who I am for a day or two? Yes. And if all of a sudden you then get something in the mail from me, you're going to say, oh, that was that kid, Mark, that came by my house, or that old guy, Mark, that came to my house. You're going to remember that, correct? However, if you just got the card or the flyer and we never met, you would have no chance of remembering me, correct? That's why we got to create the relationship and have a talk with them. Does that make sense? That's why it has to come first. And that's why we do this whole thing. What is one of the things we have to do every single day to remind people who we are? Huh? No. In our 10 things that Terry went over, what's one of the things we have to do? Send a card. So if I have a conversation with you and then I send you a card, you have a chance of remembering me. And what should be in that card after you write the card? Should we put a business card in there? That maybe has our picture on it so they now know what we look like and who we are, so they can now put a face with it. Now, I can tell you when I would door knock and I would take a new area, if I went out and I went out the second time and I did it in a short period of time, they knew who I was and they remember, oh yeah, you're Mark again. Okay, so let's talk about this on frequency. If we're setting up a farm, and I'm not teaching you this only for COVID, because it's going to end pretty quickly, and hopefully by next year we'll have a vaccine or a cure, and we can go out and do our jobs the real way. So if I'm setting up a farm and I am door knocking, how often do you think I should go? How often should I go to the door?
Same one?
Same one. Okay, so if I came to your door on Tuesday last week, and I came to your door Tuesday this week, and I came to your door Tuesday next week, what are you going to think?
I'm calling the cops.
Answer it through my Ring app.
I am not answering the door, and oh my God, there's that nutcase, Mark, coming to my door again. So 1 week is too often. Okay, let's try a different one. Okay, next.
I was gonna say once a month.
Okay. In the beginning, once a month is probably a good idea. So I'm coming once, and then I come back another month. If you happen to be home and you've now met me 3 times Do you think you could come back another month? I think once you start, they get to know you. So in the beginning, I have no problem with you doing once a month, but no more than 3 months. Okay. Okay, hold on. In the 4th month, I would rotate to every other month. And then once you've been doing it for a few years, you could do it once a quarter, or if you had some information. Yes, you had a question now.
Yeah. With the Ring doorbells and things like that, and I live in a gated community,
Mhm.
I wouldn't open my door for you at all. So, and I have children, so my children know not to open the door if it's somebody they don't know. I mean, they can see who it is. So have you dealt with that, or what's the difference in your door knocking
Okay,
in respect to that?
perfect. I'm sorry, what was your first name again?
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Okay, so I'm gonna knock on your door, okay? Knock, knock. And I see you have a ring. Hey, it's Mark Moskowitz. I was just stopping by because we actually just sold your neighbor's home, and we're looking for another client we have another buyer that's still looking for a home in here. I just wanted to know if you guys know anyone who's thinking of moving. I'm gonna leave you a flyer. If you do, please give me a call.
Okay.
I would do that. I leave messages to the ring, okay? Now, we had a new agent here that went out. They had a ring, and she's picking up other people's material. They got the picture and posted it all over next door, and she was out of the business. She was so mortified. So do not do that. Now, I will tell you, back then, if I went to the door and someone else had stuff there, I would pick it up. Okay. And one time, this other agent was there before me, and I'm picking up the paperwork, and usually I'm stuffing it in the seats in case I get caught. But however, I dumped them all in a trash can along the way. And then the husband saw me doing it and called Gay, and Gay yelled at me a little bit, but I don't do that anymore. So yes, I have done stupid things. Another thing I did, door knocking. I knocked on a door, and the gate closed. When I opened it, the gate was unlocked. It was just to get into the doorway. And the gate locked behind me, and I am now stuck. Gate for the pool and gate to the front and the front door, and I cannot get out. And I am now trapped here. And I decided that day I was wearing actually pretty tight slacks. And so then I go, shit, and I hear this dog barking the whole time, and no one's going. And now I was training one of my new guys on my team, so he was on the other side, and we started in the middle and we work our way around. So I knock, and then I try the gate, and I see the gate is unlocked. And I'm like yelling, making noise, see if a dog's gonna come out and attack me, make sure there's no doggy door. So I walk around, look, I hear dog barking, I run back, but no dog comes. I go, okay, that's good. So I now sneak around the pool. I see the dog in the house barking at me. I get to the other side, and they have a gate and a gate. So I go through that gate, but the outside gate is locked. So luckily they had the trash cans there. And so I climb up on the trash can, and I'm sitting on their block wall at this point, okay? However, they have all these solar lights right there. So if I try to jump off, I am actually gonna break their lights or something else. So I'm sitting on top of the wall, and the kid that's working for me comes by and goes, Mark, what are you doing sitting up there? I go, you won't believe it. I got locked in this house. He goes, no. So he goes and tries the gate. Comes back. You're right, Mark. It is locked. I go, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Okay. So now I'm getting down, but because my pants were so tight, at the edge of the brick, when I jump, then I said, can you pull the light out? So he pulls the top off, and he leaves a spike sticking up. I go, great, that's really good. Can we pull the spike out too? So he does that. I jump down, cut my pants on the edge. Now what would you do if that happened?
You keep an extra suit in the car.
Yeah. I then continue doing, because I just had a little cut in the back here, so no big deal. I continued and finished the rest of the street. I was not going to let that stop me happening. Okay. I finished the street. Okay. So things happen when it goes. One of the books we read on my team was Grit. How gritty are you that when things don't work, are you going to continue? Okay. So I think you go out once a month, you get to know people. After about 2-3 months, then you go every other month because you don't want to be a pest. Now, if I meet you and you say, I want to do something, I don't wait 2 weeks. I'm going to start following up separately with you on that. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on this? Carlos?
You said, you knocked on the door and said, hey, we sold the house next to you, but what about if we're new and we haven't sold anything?
Great, and we're going to come to that a little bit when at the end, I'll go through that when we actually do scripts and how I did that. Okay, well, we'll start right now. Okay, so what I would do when I started, I would door knock and we would do open houses. And so I would do an open house for you, okay? So I'd come to you, Carlos. I would love to hold your house open. Do you mind if I make up a flyer and pass out, invite the neighbors to the open house? Say no. Do you mind if I do that? Or yes, I do mind. Say, do you mind?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, sorry, I can't do your open house. And I'm gonna go to the next agent and go get one. I would not do an open house for you unless you were willing to let me door knock the neighborhood. Now, I picked the older agents that were too lazy to do anything and they didn't care. So I would find someone and I'd make up a flyer and it said open house on whatever day hosted by Mark Moskowitz. Okay. Do they know if I'm going around and it's hosted? What do they think? They think it's me. They have no idea. Now, back then we weren't allowed to have signs with our names on it. We had a little writer. So I'd take her writer off, do the open house and put her writer back on. And I never left flyers out front of the house because people could just grab one and not come in. But you'll learn that the first time. It's like, I'm in the open house, no one's coming in. I'm watching them grab the flyers and run off. So don't do that. Take the flyers, make them come inside. Okay, and we'll be able to do open houses sometime next year. But that's what I did, so I found it. Or if I'm gonna do Facebook ads, I can do it that way, okay? But if I was gonna do it, and there was a neighborhood I liked, I would do it this way. Okay, since Carlos, I'll do it with you. Knock, knock, and it's ring, ring. It can be the same way, whether it's door knocking or cold calling, right? So I'm gonna knock, knock. Hey, it's Mark Moskowitz. There's a great new listing down the street. It's actually 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, has a brand new kitchen, and it's only $899.9. And I was just wondering, who do you know who's looking for a great home in our neighborhood? We got to answer. Who do you know? You know what? I really appreciate you taking the time to think about that. And by the way, when do you plan on moving?
Not soon.
Oh, perfect. And how long have you guys lived at this address?
10 years.
Oh, fantastic. So it was a good move for you guys then.
Yeah.
And what made you come out here to Westlake originally?
I was schools.
You know what? The #1 reason people pick this area. Now, if you guys were to move again though, where would you go next? Oh, fantastic. In fact, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of our clients right now, about 1/3 of them are leaving the state to go somewhere else. And what made you pick Texas? And probably the fact that you don't have to pay state taxes also. Excellent. Any idea when that would be?
Not sure yet.
Okay, so is this something that you think you might do still this year, or would you guys wait till next year?
I think next year.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so what did I do by that question I just asked them? Okay, what did I assume?
You made a lead into a contact that you.
Okay, but I assumed he's moving like right away. Okay, so are you moving this year or next year? And now he said next year, right? So I didn't, if he didn't say, oh, in 3 years, I'm thinking he's a hotter lead. And I assume that I didn't assume when he didn't know it was longer, correct? So by giving him 2 yes answers, he's going to clarify. Or he's going to say, oh, we're not going to do anything for 5 years. Okay, he'll correct me, but I'm trying to get saying either now or early next year, right? You see that? I didn't give him an option. If I'm calling expired and I say right now, gosh, I see your home came off the market, and I was just checking to see if you guys are going to be putting it back on the market still this year or waiting to next year. Oh, we're waiting till next year. Great. So obviously you guys still want to sell the home. It's more about timing. Okay. So now I'm blocking them in. No, we're not selling anymore. We rented the house out. They're going to tell you the truth when you sort of give them 2 yes answers. And they're going to correct you. No, we had a job transfer. Because of COVID, it didn't go through, so we're not moving. So there's nothing better than I'm calling an expired and they tell me they rented the house out for a year. I don't need to make 10 more phone calls and waste my time in doing it. See, I don't have a problem if you say no to me, I'm going to go find someone else. I don't need to keep following up with someone by not asking the tougher questions. Okay, so now let's go back to our role play. So, next year. So really, so you guys do want to do something pretty quickly. It's just really a matter of timing for you and your family, correct?
Yeah, timing and then seeing how this whole COVID thing.
Okay. And if you were, and so what has to happen first before you make the move?
No more restrictions, I guess.
Okay, well, obviously, you know, there's a lot less restrictions in Texas than there are here in California. So the real question is, if I could get your home sold right now, before the end of the year, are you guys in a position to do it quicker?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly why I would like to sit down with you, talk to you a bit about the market, timing, and what we do to keep you safe during COVID. Would you prefer to do it in person or do it on Zoom?
Person's fine.
Perfect. When would be a good time for us to get together and do that? I could actually do it later this week, or would early next week be better?
Let's do next week.
Perfect. Is Monday or Tuesday better for you?
Monday.
Okay, now, what did you observe in that role play?
Give the double yes question.
Okay, I did that, yes, but since we continued. So again, so I gave them safety. Do you want to meet in person or in on Zoom? So I did that. Did I care which he chose? Did I make it easy for him to choose one or the other? Made it very easy. And by saying, because he's not ready to list right this moment, I said, would you rather get together at the end of this week or next week? So there was urgency, but not too much urgency that I'm pressuring him, correct? I just want to get an appointment. I don't have to have it tomorrow. Is he expecting to meet with someone right now? No, I have time. And so if it happens at the end of this week or next week, do I really care? I want you to see that. Sometimes we're so anxious. It's like, I got to get it tomorrow. And now we're too pushy. I allow him to pick what works for him. And because I want to have a conversation at this point to see how I can help him. Correct? We see that?
And you didn't leave it open-ended. You said what works better, Monday or Tuesday, not
Once
give me a day.
once he picked a time
Yeah.
this week or next week, then I started to box him into it, but I didn't start off. I don't know him well enough. If I just met him door knocking or on the phone, I need to ease into it a little bit. Okay, now, how many times do I need to talk to someone before they're going to do business with me? How much?
Until they tell you.
No, there's a quantity.
Like 9 or 10.
It's 7 or 8. Normally, you have to have 7 or 8 contacts. Now, if they're part of my database and they know who I am, it can be 1 or 2. If I meet you door knocking, maybe you see my name, my signs around, so you're willing to talk to me. But if not, it usually takes 7 times before they get to know you and recognize you. And so if he's going to do something, Carlos is going to do something in January, I need to get those 7 contacts in before then. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do here. Now, let's say he really is not going to move until January. Okay, so now let's re-role play. Tell me you're not going to do anything to January.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not planning on doing anything until January.
Do you know what? And I appreciate that. One of the things that we do is we like to come in and make some suggestions to you that don't cost a lot of money, but can put twice as much money in your pocket. Meaning, if we make a suggestion and it costs you $2,000 or $3,000, but you get 6,000 back, do you mind doing that? Of course not. So what I'd love to do is sit down with you, tell you a little bit about what we do in the process, and then walk through your house and make some suggestions. So this way you have enough time to get them ready for when we want to put the house on the market in January. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great. When would be a good time for us to get together so we can do that?
Next week.
And then I could do the next week. So even though he wants to wait to January, I'm going to find value now. Does that make sense? I want to get in the house. Why do I want to get in the house?
Build a relationship.
Cement the relationship. I'm going to add value. I will tell you, this year, I think I have listed at least 25 homes. So if I've listed 20, how many listings do you think I've lost this year? Or how many appointments did I have to go on to get those 25? Huh? 75, okay. Okay, I'm much better than that. Huh?
It's like 45.
28,
Oh, nice.
okay. I think I know of 3 that I did not get. Okay. If you call me out, I'm getting it. Okay. Now, let me rephrase it, that they're actually going to list. I could go out and they're not going to do anything, but if they're going and I get out there and I can create a show value, they're not calling anyone else. And on most of the listings I go on, I'm not interviewing anyone else. It's just me. We're setting price and we're going. Okay. And I can think of 3 that I lost. One sec. I can think of 3 I lost. One, because I didn't cut the commission enough for them, and the other person gave them less than half off on the commission. I was not willing to do it, and I just checked. It's still sitting on the market and not selling. I had another guy, actually, it was a $1.1 million listing in Simi, and they were going to then sell their house in Agoura for $1.4 million, and they're going to sell 2 houses to their kids. So I was actually willing to work with him on the house in Simi and to make it work. And then then he just played us off of each other. And then it's like, no, at that, I cannot do it. And I walked away from it. And then he called me and said, oh, Mark, I made a mistake. I went with the guy, he's not selling it. And then the other guy kept having to drop the price, and he finally sold it, but at much less than I would have been able to get him. Okay, so that's a problem. Now your question.
Did you have strong relationships with those 3? Like you had been mentoring, not?
No. Most of them, I mean, some of them could be past clients. Some could be, okay, one just called me, they got my name and it was all on price.
Gotcha.
And commission.
So there was no relationship?
No, okay, right. But most of the time, like for example, one of the houses I just put on the market on Thursday and sold on Sunday. Okay, so, okay, let's back up. This month I will close 9 homes. Okay, so let's go through those and see. So the one I closed today, I met his mother door knocking 20 years ago as I'm going. And she, as she was getting older, she had to go to assisted living. So we talked to her, but it didn't make sense for her to sell. She wasn't sure if she was going to like it. And then the kids said she was the original owner. She bought the house for $120,000 or $130,000, and the house at the time was worth $600,000. They would have to pay too much in taxes, so they're going to wait till she passes away and just use it as a rental. Sure enough, she passed away at 93 in August. We had just rented it out for another year, so we had to wait, put it on the market. Closed today, so we put it on the market 30 days ago and sold it for $940. So they got 50% more by waiting, so that was a good deal. And like he said, you did such a great job with Mom that she said, if we ever sell the house, we have to use you, Mark. Now their niece is a realtor, and they went with me because they promised Mom. Now, that doesn't always happen. I know a lot of times where I get to know the parents and they get sick and the kids just sell it out me, even though they always say we're gonna go with you. So that's why I keep lead generating all the time. Next one I'm closing on Friday was a referral from an agent I know through training. And so they called me and so we got there. She gave me the referral last November. They had to transfer and because of COVID, it took forever and their attorney screwed it up. And then we had to get the son out of the house. So we did that, put it on the market, sold it the first weekend. And now that's closing on Friday. The one that's closing on Thursday this week. I was a listing agent when he bought the house. It's part of my farm. I continue to door knock. I've had his phone number. There's a few times where he changed his number and I didn't have it anymore. So he became out of my system and I didn't have his email. And then through door knocking, I got him back in my system. And then when he was leaving, he called me up. He says, I'm thinking of going to New Jersey. I go, I happen to be in New Jersey because my daughter just had her first grandchild 40 days ago, and I was in Jersey. I go, I'll be back next week. We met, figured out how to get his house on the market in 10 days because he had bought a house, and that's closing this week, and he's closing on his house on Friday. So by staying in touch with that person, we did the same thing. I got a lead through a referral, followed up with them for over a year, and I listed their house. I double-ended that house to someone in our community. As it turns out, the house next door came on the market as I was doing this one. And so he happened to buy that one and then bought my listing. He wanted both properties. So that worked out really well. And then I had one that they'd seen our postcards in the neighborhood, had not talked to them. So I went there, they interviewed 4 of us. And they felt the most comfortable with us, hired us. We sold their house for $910,000 and they bought a house for $1.5 million. So that was a buyer's sale we had. And so it was just working the farm. The one I put on Thursday, I sold the house next door to them and across the street. They were getting ready to look at property up in Reno. So they called me up on Tuesday and said, hey, Mark, we're thinking of going, we're leaving this weekend for Reno. Can we talk to you when we get back? I go, would it be helpful for you guys to know what your home is worth before you go? Oh, wow, yes, I could come over tomorrow. So I went over the next day, saw their house, went through it, told them what to do. Now, then I left for Jersey and for some reason we screwed up and did not put in the database. So I forgot to call up. She did call me and said, Mark, we bought a house. We need our house sold like by Thursday, we have to have it on the market. And so I talked to him on the phone right there. I'd been in the house and we agreed to everything and I got it listed that day. Okay. So it's a little bit of everything at this point, but it's years of doing it that it's all paying off. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's come back over here. Any other questions on the role play? Okay, we did that. Okay, now we're going to the database. And so this is critical in the database. So what is a database? Okay, it's a central place where we keep all of our contacts. Okay, so in the early days, I did cards and then that got too hard. And so then I went to top producer. I am personally not on command because I do too many calls. My team is all on command. I happen to use Lion Desk. And so I have all my contacts in there and it says when I'm going to call you next. Okay, now this is the way I do it. I call every single day. And now that we're in COVID and I can't go door knock, then it's all based on the phone. So I have everybody in there. Okay, so I have my current clients that are in escrow or I'm listing. I put them in, they're in there. I put them in to call, say on Monday. I call through them and then I decide when I want to call them next. Usually on my current clients, I put in there to call them every 2 days. Now, it does not mean I call them every 2 days. I will call them at least once a week. If there's stuff going on, I will call them two or three times. You cannot over communicate at this point. Okay, so I just put them every 2 days, so it just pops up on what I need to do. My hot leads, the people I'm trying to get to. I put them in accordingly. So if I talk to you today and based on what you say, I'm going to try you again next week, but it's all to get an appointment. Okay, so if I go back to Carlos, where I have he wasn't sure and he was trying to do something, okay, in January, he would not let me come over. I'm going to call him probably in 2 weeks, no longer than 4 weeks, okay? Because I need to stay in touch. So I'm going to now call Carlos and say, hey, Carlos, it's Mark Moskowitz. I just was checking in with you. I know the last time I talked, you guys were talking about waiting until January. Is that still the case? And ask. Because sometimes when I talk to him, it gets him thinking and they're thinking of doing something sooner. So I want to make sure. I know I offered to come on over and look at the house. It wasn't convenient back then. Would it be convenient for us to get together this week or next week? So I'm going to try again. I'm going to acknowledge that it wasn't good. See how your time is. Make sense? Okay. And I'm going to see if I can get in there. And if he still says no, one of the things we have seen, we started to see the market slow down a little bit, which is true. I put a listing on the one that closed today. I put on 3 weeks ago in Oak Park. I had 60 showings, 20 offers in 4 days. Put one on Thursday. I had 8 showings in 4 days and 1 offer. Steve put one on, Terry's husband, and he had 2 showings over the weekend. It is really slowed down. Now, why do we think the market might have slowed down right now? The election. People are caught up what's going on, so that could be it. Is that going to last? I don't know. If the election gets drawn out and they're all fighting on it, is that going to slow things down? Could. Okay, we don't know. So I'm going to say to Carlos, we are starting to see signs that the market is slowing down. I just wanted to make you aware of that. And we also know that we're probably going to start to see more inventory in February. Do you know why? One of the things that we know is a lot of people that got caught up with COVID and lost their jobs did a forbearance, meaning they called their bank and made arrangements not to make any payments. Those are going to start to come due in January and February, and they're going to have to decide how they're going to pay that off. And if they're still not working and don't have the income, they're not going to be able to make payments and they're going to have to sell. So we're going to see a certain portion of those people put their house on the market. Did you know that? Yeah, so we should see some more inventory. The other thing that we're seeing is because of the COVID rules, some of the houses, some renters, if the people didn't pay, they couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't evict them. Did you know that? So we are actually having a lot of our clients that have 1 property, maybe 2, that aren't professional renters, that as their tenants leave, they're actually selling them because they don't want to take the risk right now that their tenant doesn't pay. And so that too could cause inventory to go up. What do you think happens to inventory or what do you think happens to prices if inventory goes up? Right, we could start to see prices drop a little bit. Okay, now, if you notice, I screwed that up, right? The first time I said it backwards. Okay, I just corrected myself. I didn't go, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Why did I say that? I kept going, okay? He didn't say, oh my God, he just screwed it up, okay? So don't beat yourself up when you're talking to people and you screw it up. I screw it up all the time, okay? But it doesn't bother me because I've done this for so long. And then you keep going, okay? So don't stop if you screw it up. They don't know, okay? You notice it much more because we're a lot more nervous and much more self-conscious, correct? Okay, so now, I'm sorry, what did I say last? Oh, did you know? So we could see prices start to drop. So I know you want to wait to January, but if I could actually get your home sold now and put an extra $10,000 or $15,000 in your pocket, could you move sooner? Perfect. That's why I'd like to get together with you this week and examine that. Let's look at what's happening in the market and what could happen by January, February, and what it would take to get your home sold now and put more money in your pocket. Fair enough? Now I'm creating more urgency, right? Now I'm trying to move them up. I didn't do that the first time. I didn't know him, but I've now followed up with him. And depending on how he's responding, I will decide what to do. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna give you another one. I called this person. We're supposed to get together. I'm leaving the first time to go to Jersey. And he's trying to push me for when I'm gone, and I'm gonna be gone for 6 days. So I'm being a little bit more aggressive, trying to get an appointment in beforehand. So I call him on Tuesday, I'm leaving, or Monday, and I'm leaving on Thursday to see when we can get together. I call him up, he goes, Mark, you're giving me way too much pressure. Forget it, I don't wanna do it, don't call me again. Okay, what do we do? Huh? What would you do?
Let them cool off for a little bit and then follow up in a couple days.
Okay, good job. So I go to New Jersey, I'm going, I come back, I call him up. Hey, Chris, it's Mark Moskowitz. I was just checking in with you. I know how busy you've been. I just wanted to see if this was a better time for you.
Yeah.
And he didn't even remember that he told me not to call again. Okay, so again, don't make up a big story when they're having a bad day and they take it out on you. This is going to be $1 million listing. Okay, how much am I going to get paid? 20, 25,000? Yes, yes. So can I get yelled at, or can I have Chris get mad at me for a little bit for 20, 25,000? My feelings get better really quickly at that type of money. If it was a $100,000 listing and I'm getting $3,000, screw you. No. Okay? We get paid really well. So don't give up. Keep calling back. Now, if I call Chris again and he goes, oh my God, I told you not to call me, then I would stop. Okay? Now, I'm door knocking and it says do not disturb, or do not disturb. What do I do?
Sorry, I didn't see that.
Okay, I'm gonna knock anyways,
Oh.
okay? But I'm gonna knock on your door and just do it this way. Hey, it's Mark Moskowitz. We're just updating everybody on what's going on in the market. I just wanted to see if you wanted the information. And some people say, no, no, great, I'll leave it for you. If you have any questions, let me know. And most people say, oh yeah, Mark, that would be great. What's going on in the neighborhood? So I'm not as aggressive when it says that. I'm gonna be a lot nicer and let them decide. Does that make sense? Now, when I started, I was doing the Mike Ferry system, and Mike Ferry is, you call, and if they're not doing something now, get rid of them. And then I go, okay, so I'm young, I'm just going. And then I start to realize that 2 years later, I'm here, and now there's a sign up there, and I had talked to those people, but I hadn't talked to them recently. So that's why we have a database. I'm gonna put those people in because I'm gonna be in the business for a while. I'm gonna nurture them and stay in touch with them, okay? Now, if someone's staying forever, I'm not putting those people in my database. Now, I'm a little bit different because I can't keep track and I'm calling these people all the time. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions on that? Okay. So our database generally stores information, is updated regularly. So as I told you, I'm calling, I'm updating it, I'm getting, if I don't have all their information, then I put it in. So what information do we need when we put someone in our database? Name, email,
Phone number,
address,
phone number.
phone number. Now, if I get an internet lead, what do I have?
Usually just a name.
What? Well, I better have a name, okay? So oh, you're right. I may not, because they sometimes give you a bogus name. I get Mickey Mouse. I have a few Mickey Mouses in my, okay, so what else do I have? I have email, so I usually have some type of name and an email, and it's always great when they give you Mickey Mouse and then their email is tombrown14@gmail. So, so you now have the right name by the way their email is, okay? Now, do I have phone numbers? Not always. I may, and it may, if they get a phone number, it may not always be good. Okay, so that's a problem. So they're in my database, that's not as good. Now, do you think I've ever door knocked and someone wanted to do something and I was so excited I didn't get their information? Believe me, I did that in the beginning and it's like, oh, shoot. And then you're going back to go knock on it and get it again and they're not home ever again. So I learned very quickly, get as much information as possible when you're at the door. Make sense? But believe me, you'll screw up. That's why we are doing follow-up to get it, okay? So you really need to have a correct name. You really need to have an address if they own a property, because that's where our smart plans and also the information that we send you once a month through Keller Williams is so critical. It is great. My clients love that, and it's a great touch, okay? And you should have an email and a phone number. If you don't have a phone number, it's just really tough. And when they don't want to give you a phone number, I go, sometimes they'll say, I want to send you some information on us. Great, here's my email. Great, can I get your phone number so I can follow up to make sure you got it? And if they don't, say, look, I'm not going to abuse it. However, I need to know that you got it. If they're not giving me a phone number and an email and proper information, you have no relationship and you have nothing. So don't be afraid to push a little bit harder, because without those things, you're not going to sell them a house. They're just going to be someone that you're chasing and you're going to think you have something when you don't. Make sense? And that's what we're talking about in a relationship. Okay. Is updated regularly, can be organized to meet specific needs. Okay, so we have in command that we have, and on Thursday at 11, Jessica's going to be teaching you a class on command, how to put your leads in and set these tags. So a tag is how you classify someone. So what do you think might be an important way to classify someone?
Friends,
Okay, it could be friends. Okay, what else?
family.
Could possibly be a referral. The problem is if it just says referral, that doesn't help you a lot. Okay, so what might be another thing we want? Okay, so for me, Chris, what do you think might be one?
Urgency. They're hotly.
I don't think that's a tag. There is something in there that you can put it. So a tag really is how you're going to remember them. So I have in there, is it a farm? Is it a past client? Is it a sphere of influence? So what is a sphere of influence?
Close in a relationship with.
Someone who knows my name and would probably know who I am. Okay. So I'm not, so Carlos, who lives at 123 Main Street, that's in my farm, and I've never talked to, he's not a sphere of influence. He's got my postcard, but we've never done anything with. Someone that I'm playing basketball with, or someone I know through the gym or through my temple or my church, that would be someone that would be a sphere of influence. Okay. And so what would be a past client? Someone we worked with, right? Now,
For the children, you said, could you put them under past client?
wait, which one?
So like, let's say the person you, like if you're selling children's homes as a past client, would you still label them?
To me, then that becomes a referral of a past client. And as soon as I sell them a house, then they become a past client. Again, don't overcomplicate this, because I've seen people have 19 categories in there and it's just way too much. So I am much more simple. My farm, I'm going to do something separate to, right? My sphere, to me, I always look at my past clients and my sphere as one group. I'm starting to separate that a little bit more now, but I didn't. I have my group through my temple. I've always done quite a bit of business through our temple. And so one of the things I did is for any deal I did in the temple, I gave back a 10% donation back to the temple. Now, Gary says we should do donations, but we should do it in a visible way. So when I did it, if I give to our temple, if I give $1,000 check to the general fund, is that a big deal?
Yeah.
To the general fund that everyone gets or for regular donations? Nobody knows about that. People are giving 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. My $1,000 barely counts. However, When I give it for new books for the youth program, and now they advertise to all the parents, oh, we want to thank Mark Moskowitz for donating our books for the kids program, that goes out to a certain amount of people that people get to see that I'm involved. So
You requested that.
I asked them a lot. I don't want to get to the general fund. I'll come to the rabbi and say, hey, what would you like me to sponsor or do that you couldn't do if I didn't make this donation? Now he's coming to me and saying, hey, Mark, we got another client for you. And we worked it up together. Now, if I'm going to work in an organization like that, what do you think is important?
You're actually present at the organization.
Okay, that's good. What else?
It's not just about business. Like, even if like sometimes you're like, it's okay to not. So for example, if you're going to your temple, it's okay to not talk real estate.
I'm not talking real estate all the time. So, but okay, so now if I do business, what's important? Now I'm doing business with someone, what's important?
Following us.
Okay, so on a basic level, is it important to do a good job? Is it important to do what I say I'm going to do? If there's a problem, is it important to make it right? Even if it costs me money? When we're working in an organization, you are extremely visible. So when I started, there was one agent who now happens to be in this office. It was her and I that did all the business. Then another person came, okay? Now, I actually sold the rabbi his house. Or no, I had to sell his house in a really tough market. And there were some issues and I had to get him out of it and protected him. And he said, oh my God, I did a great job. Then another person came into the real estate in the community. And someone was working with him and they couldn't sell the house. And the rabbi's wife says, oh my God, just call Mark. He'll get your home sold for you. Is that good to have? Because I got results. And this other guy, he was kind of desperate and you'd make all these promises and never deliver. And it was a disaster and people's houses wouldn't sell. I would tell you, he would always try and tell him the house was worth $20,000 more than it was. And I'd be realistic. Here's what your house is worth. And it would sell for that price. But he was so desperate for the business, but he ruined his reputation in the community. There was another guy, then an Israeli agent that came in, and he was freewheeling and, oh, promise this and do this. And half the time we would do deals together, and we would do a few deals together, and he'd be advertising brand new carpet, and only the carpet in the master was new. The rest of the carpet was old. Guess what? It closed. He bought the people new carpet. Okay? So be careful what you say and what you do. If there's a problem, even if it's not my fault, I'm going to make it correct because I want people saying Mark does a good job. And when you say you're going to show up. And if you say you're going to do something, and then these guys would probably, oh, I never said I would pay for that. Do not ruin your reputation. Do what you're going to say and do what it takes to get it done because you only get one chance in these organizations to make a bad reputation. And I've been doing this for 20 years. And still have a very good reputation. And my reputation is I get it done. And what I say is going to happen. And if I screw up, I mean, I've had some where I thought it was this and then the market changed and I went through and go, gosh, I thought we could get this price, but because of this, here's where we need to be. I didn't hide it from them. I went back to them. So we're talking about communication for a second. I listed a home on Friday. I sold the house in the same neighborhood for $920. This one is not quite as nice. And I told them we could put it on for $895. Okay. I went back to the office and I'm telling Helene, my head buyer's agent, I just listed this house for $895. She goes, oh, that's great, Mark. Did you see the new one that just came out today? I did the CMA yesterday or the day before. I did not see it and it didn't meet my criteria. It was a bigger house, a better house, a nicer house in a better location, and they put it on for $865. What happened to my $895? I do not have the right price, do I? So we were meeting with them on yesterday with the painter because they had to get it painted. Okay. And so we met with the painter to see what it was. And then my painter says, Mark, you're not going to believe it. When the husband, and there was so much clutter and you could barely see the house. And so they spent the whole weekend getting the stuff out and getting rid of stuff and moving it out. Okay, so I couldn't see it as well. He goes, Mark, I'm looking at the walls, and when the husband painted it, he added sand to the paint, so it has a very Adobe Spanish look to it. And then they painted themselves, and it's all blotchy, and they patched the walls, but they didn't sand it, so it's rough spots. It really looked bad. Okay, so I sat down with her yesterday, and I said to her, unfortunately, then I looked to see if there was anything else new. And on Sunday, another house came out better than ours for $899. So the fact that I sold the one for $910 or $920 makes no difference, because 2 weeks later, these people have screwed it up. So I had to go back to her and say, hey, look, before I have you spend all this money on fixing it up, I need to go over prices. I can't get you $895. I'm going to probably get you $860 today, or $880 if we do the painting. What do you want to do? And she may now not sell. Great. But I'm not going to take the listing and have her spend the money and not deliver. I'd rather walk away now if that happens. So if I price a home today, how good is that price good for? Today, until something else happens. If someone drops their price 30,000, that affects us. So the question is, how fast do you go back to people and tell them, I go back right away? Does that make sense? But it's that truthfulness, and that's why she picked us in the beginning, because I was the most honest about what was going on. I knew what was going, but by the same token, I went back to her. Does that make sense?
So those people who priced it at $860, is it doing well?
Okay, so I called the agent first before I called her yesterday morning. They got 3 offers on the property. Now I put one on the market. The one I sold for $920, I put it on the market for $895 and sold for $920.
So is that, you think that's what they were looking to do?
They're completely out of the area. They don't know the area at all, and they underpriced it. So right now they're up to $870. So we decided we're going to talk tomorrow. I'm going to find out how high they got, but that's going to have an impact on what I can do.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to start painting or doing anything right this second until we know by the end of the week. I was very upfront, and I said, look, if you decide not to do it, I'll tear up the paperwork. Okay? Again, if I price it wrong, and based on that, I'm going to do what's right. I'm not going to hold you into the contract. That'd be completely wrong. And I've had that where people want to switch to us and they say, I'll cancel. And then when push comes to shove, and then that person's on social media, blasting them, telling them what a jerk they were, how bad they were. You can't afford to have that happen. Okay. Okay, so as we're trying to do this, so when we're breaking down our leads, do not tag it too much. But I mean, I could have expireds. I could have for sale by owners. If it was part of a group, I could do it. I could have a mailing list. So you want to do it in the way you want to do it. Then you have urgency, and you can break it down by how quickly they're going to do something. So in my database, I'm going to call you every 90 days, okay? However, if I call Chris today and he's going to do something in a month, I'm going to call him in a week or in 2 weeks. So now Chris is going to be on a completely different dialogue. And every time I call him, it's going to change based on that. But if Chris is not doing anything and I'm giving an update, I will call him accordingly. So who would like to role play with me on just someone in my database that I'm calling every 90 days?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Want to do it, Kristen?
I don't care.
All right.
I'll do it.
Okay. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Kristen, it's Mark Moskowitz with Keller Williams. How are you doing?
Hey, Mark, great.
Excellent. I was just checking on all my clients and just seeing how you guys are doing with COVID and everything.
We are all healthy and well.
Perfect. One of the things that we're seeing is some of my clients have been having a hard time financially because of what's going on. And some of my clients have been doing really well. I was just hoping you guys were in the latter category. How are you guys doing financially?
Really well, because we can operate from anywhere, so it worked, it's fine.
Oh, perfect. As you're probably aware, the market is going absolutely incredible right now. Were you aware of that?
100%.
Yeah, because so many clients out here are actually doing really well and they have extra money right now. And with the record low interest rates, we're seeing a lot of people that are able to do something. So first of all, I know you guys were going to be there forever. I just wanted to make sure, did you guys get a chance to refinance your house and lower your payments under 3%?
We actually, for real, just did that last week.
Oh, perfect. So I'm glad that was taken care of because I really want to make sure my clients have done that. How much did you guys, when I did it, I saved $400. How much did you guys save?
On our home that we live in,
Yeah.
it was about 700.
Oh man, you did even better than me. That's fantastic. So one of the things that we are seeing right now is how many people are moving out of the valley and the city coming out this way. We're seeing a big migration west because we get more value and more home. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, and so what we're seeing is with COVID, people are using their house differently. First of all, it's their home. In many cases, it's their school for their kids. In other cases, it's their work. And then they need a nice backyard because that's their socializing. And so we're seeing some of our clients that have been in their house a long time are actually realizing their house does not quite work right now, and they're looking to make a move. Have you guys considered doing that?
No, we're good.
Oh, great. So I'm glad you guys got a home that works really well. And like I said, so if you hear of anyone, friends, family, that need to either refinance or need to make a change, we'd love the opportunity to show them what we're doing right now in the market to get our clients top dollar for their home and at the same time keep them safe, because that's really important right now. The last thing is, what we're seeing right now is we're helping a lot of our clients, either their parents or their kids, with real estate. And being that I'm part of Keller Williams, we have connections with top agents all over the country. So if you ever need help with that, let me know and I will help pick out the best agent to meet their needs. Fair enough?
That would be great.
Great. So sounds like you guys are pretty set. If you think of anything or you need any resources with contractors or anything, we have a great list. Let me know. We're here for you.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Any questions on that? So I'm having a conversation with her, seeing if there's an opportunity. I have no problem saying, I know you're going to be there for a long time. Oh, but you told her to stay. If she just refinanced and she's staying, did I talk her into staying? No. So when I'm real clear, I'm pretty good at scripts and what to say to people. But if you're not moving, I'm not talking you into moving. Okay?
You talked to her into calling you back for anything she needs.
I did. And then I mentioned when she said no, we're seeing some of our clients that the home's not quite working. Have you considered that to give her one more chance to consider making a move, right? So even though she just refinanced, I try. Now, if her house works perfect and she just refinanced, what are the chances of her moving in the near future? Not likely. So to try and convince her to move right now, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
Very bad.
Very bad. She's gonna say, oh my God, I'm never taking Mark's call again. Now, I could say, like when I would door knock and you would say, I'm not going anywhere. And I go, perfect, neither am I. I'll still be coming to your door. I may be coming with my walker at that time, but I'll still be doing this. And they would laugh, because if I get them to laugh, they remember me. Because anytime we can make people feel good, they remember us. So we want to do that. And then I would say, what I do know is that life sometimes just happens. If for some reason you do need to make a change, please give us a call. We'd love to show you what we're doing to make such a difference.
Well, the parent part was good because I have elderly in-laws who are
Mhm.
going to need to downsize. So even though you're asking about me and I'm not moving and we did refi.
Right.
My parents, you know, would.
Right, and we're helping a lot of my friends' parents move. I've sold a lot of my peers their parents' houses, and now I'm starting to help their kids get their first places. So I set that out there. And then by saying I have a network of people that I can say anywhere in the US, I have done probably 8 referrals this year. And they average at least $2,500 that came in that we've helped people buy homes in other areas. Okay, that's good money. It pays for my cap and everything else. So as we're doing this, I want you to see there's other ways of doing it. Okay, now, Chris, I'll do you now. Now, let's do a role play that I just met you. I maybe met you door knocking, or we'll pick something that you would like me to role play with.
What's it for?
You tell me.
We met at a store.
Okay, so we met at a store and you gave me your information.
Okay.
Well, look, if you're gonna role play, you gotta get it real. There's nothing worse than role playing and the person's changing the story as you go. So it's like, wait a minute. You told me this, I'm role playing that, and then I got you, and now you changed the story. I can't get good at that if it's constantly moving, okay? So I'll do whatever you want, just pick what you wanna do.
Okay, we met at Vaughn's.
Okay.
And I gave you my information
And why?
because I know someone that may be moving.
Okay, so we were talking, you saw, somehow we realized I'm in real estate. Great. So ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Chris, it's Mark Moskowitz. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I gotta tell you, this market has been absolutely crazy lately. With these record low interest rates, we're seeing a lot of people getting into the market, and we're seeing so many people trying to escape the valley and the city to come out to Thousand Oaks out here. It's just been really crazy right now. And I wanted to make sure I checked up on you because you mentioned when we talked that you had a friend who was thinking of making a move. Did you get a chance to talk to them?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. He actually lives in LA and he's been working remotely. So I've been trying to convince him to make a move.
And so when you talked to him, what did he actually say?
He said, word for word, I hate LA, I want to get out of here.
Okay, so is he thinking, because I mean, I have some people that hate LA and they're looking to get out of state. And then we have a lot of people that want to stay in Southern California and they're coming out to Thousand Oaks and Westlake in this area because it's such a great place to live. So what's he thinking of doing?
I don't know exactly, but I would love for him to live a little bit closer to me.
Oh, that would be great. What I'd love to do is just have a conversation with him. Just explain to him what's going on in the market and why I really believe now is a better time to buy than instead of waiting. Do you know why waiting could actually be a bad idea?
No, please tell me.
Okay, so right now, as you're probably aware, we're seeing prices go up, and they've actually gone up about 8 to 10% from last year. Did you realize that?
I didn't.
No, and we're seeing a lot of people like your friend that are trying to leave LA and come up this way. And what we're seeing is there's a complete shortage of homes. So when there's a shortage of homes or a shortage of anything, what happens to the price?
Goes up.
Goes up. So if he just waits a few months and prices continue to go up, he could actually pay $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 more for the exact same house. And that wouldn't be a good thing, would it?
No, definitely not.
No. And we know that interest rates are at record lows right now. And not that we think they're going to jump up, but they could slowly start to inch up. And then he could have to pay several $100s more a month just by waiting if the rates move.
So when do you think the rates are going to move?
Do you know what? Last week they had jumped up for a little bit because with the PPP or with the new shoot, now I just lost, what's it called that they were talking about? So the new stimulus plan. Right, so with the new stimulus plan, when that was going through, they actually thought that would cause more inflation and cause interest rates to jump about 0.25%. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
And then when they didn't agree, they've now come back down. And we know that once the election is done, that will be, most likely they'll come up with something. And so that could eventually have an effect on interest rates with all this money coming into the economy. So that's what I would like to really just talk to your friend. Would you mind if I just gave him a call and introduced myself?
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. I would probably have to call him first to let him know, but.
Perfect. Why don't you do that? Let me get his name and number now. I'll reach out to him tomorrow And if you don't mind just letting him know I'm going to be calling, and then text me that it's okay for me to call him, that would be great.
Perfect.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to call, follow up with him in a week and say, hey, Chris, thank you so much. I got a chance to talk to Tom, and we're actually getting together next week. Did he tell you that we had talked? So I'm going to stay in touch with Chris, and he sees I follow up, and again, demonstrating I'm a good agent, correct? Now, I do have to be careful if now all of a sudden I'm dealing with his friend and I'm getting personal information, how much I tell Chris, because if I tell him something that he thought I shouldn't tell, I could lose a client and then lose the other one. So I'm careful on that. So for example, if Chris tells me, oh, I want to work with, or let's say Chris was older, I want to tell you, I want to introduce my kids to you, and I'm talking to the kids, I will say to them, okay, so now I'm going to call Chris, who's the kid, okay, because I don't think Chris has old enough kids to buy a house yet. Okay, perfect. That's what I thought, but we got to make sure. So now I'm talking to Chris. Hey, Chris, I know your parents have been good friends of mine, and we've known a long time. How much do you want me to discuss with them? Because I know you know your father. He's going to call me up to see what's going on, and I don't want to give him any information without your permission.
We're pretty open, so nothing's really too off limits.
Okay, perfect. So if all of a sudden we're talking about something and you don't want me to say anything, just let me know and I'll make sure we don't share that with him. But you know your father, he's going to call me.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, did I get permission on what to say or not say? And am I going to stop myself from getting into trouble? And did I tell him to tell me when it's too far? Because I'm not going to remember with a bunch of clients. So he'll remind me, don't say anything. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, any questions on that? Okay, coming back here. Now, oh, we got to switch to this page. What time is it?
2:40.
Okay, so I got to get through this quicker. Okay, because I did the, don't do that, 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 don't do that. This is all the stuff that one should call. Okay, you guys actually have it in your book. Do you have?
The sales funnel?
Do you have the one that shows the 19 contacts and the 33? And it talks about. It's probably.
Yes, is
What
that
page is
page
that?
6?
Yeah, that's what.
No, that's lead gen.
No, it says in there under database, and it talks about 19 touches and 36 touches.
Maybe page 7?
Okay, you guys turn to page.
Yeah, 19 to connect, 36
Okay.
to convert. Page
Okay, so
7.
let's look at this for a moment. Okay, this is really critical in what we're doing. Okay. So in Keller Williams, the definition is, what is a lead? A lead is anybody that we've not talked to, that we're aware of, that we don't have a relationship with. So Chris just referred his friend to me. He's a lead, but he's not a contact yet. A contact is when I have a two-way conversation and we're starting to build a relationship. So when Chris gave me his friend, he's only a lead. We see that? I get someone who answers an internet ad and I don't have information, they're only a lead, right? When I start to talk to them and I develop a relationship, then they become a contact. Someone in my farm that I'm mailing to and I'm getting stuff and I'm trying to talk to, but I don't have a relationship, they're only a lead. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is really important. So the idea is in contacts that these are the people that know us and we have a relationship with. So the people that I'm getting, these people just calling me and referring people to me are all through contacts, right? Right? These are my past clients, my sphere, people I've nurtured. Now, according to Keller Williams, we should be getting a 5% return out of our database. So as we're putting people in here, they're going into two categories. They're going into contacts and they're going into leads. When we're looking at this 5% return, it is only from contacts, okay? So if I have 100 people in my contacts, how many people can I expect to do business with out of that if I get a 5% return? No, 5%. What's 5% of 100? That's why you're a realtor, because you're not good at math. Okay, how many? 5. Okay, so according to Keller Williams, we're going to get 5 deals out of 100. Okay, and if I want to sell 20 and get it all through my database, how many people do I need to have in my database? No, 20. 400. Okay, so if you're too good at the math, you're probably not a good realtor because you're not going to go talk to people. Okay, so it's 400. So we got to look at how many people do you have right now versus where you need to go. If I have 100 and I want to sell 20 homes and I can get 5 from that group, how many people do I have to get from another group? The other 15, right? Or I got to cultivate the people that are in the leads to create a relationship and move them over to the contacts. This is why it is so critical right now, early in your careers, that you start the database, start putting people in and cultivating and growing it. Now, I'm out door knocking and I met Carlos, okay? And we have a conversation. What are the chances of Carlos using me to do business?
Just off that conversation.
Yeah. Pretty low. However, since I am pretty good and I had a good conversation, I have a little bit better chance, correct? Now, Carlos's best friend calls him tomorrow and says, oh my gosh, I'm thinking I want to buy a house. Do you know anyone? What are the chances of Carlos telling him about me?
Pretty high for the last one he talked to.
Probably even very low. Okay, think about this for a minute. If you just met someone, you don't really have a relationship, are you going to recommend them to somebody else? You're not, unless you have a relationship. You're willing to try them and interview them, but you're not going to recommend them to someone until you have some firsthand experience. Does that make sense? This is really critical because I did not understand this, okay? And so that's why we had this database and these touches trying to cultivate the relationship, because this is the critical part. As good as I am, I don't get enough referrals that I would like, okay? Because I haven't cultivated the relationship enough. And so when I started, I was very Mike Ferry. So I'd call, you're done. I would follow up with you once a quarter asking for business. When I came to Keller Williams 10 years ago and we started the campaigns, we started the marketing, we started doing events, cultivating the relationship, I get a lot more business. Now, COVID has been a real blessing for me, because I can't door knock and I got to call you and everybody's home. People want to talk to you. And when you ask them about their family and what's going on, people that didn't pick up their phone, who are starving for personal contact and want to talk to you, are talking to you, and it's as if we're best friends again. And I've been able to strengthen those relationships that people that were working all the time, I couldn't get a hold of them as easily. So it's actually worked out really well for us. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do, is get this relationship going. And I want you to see that just because you met someone doesn't mean they're going to give business to you. So I have new people that come onto my team and they're out door knocking, and then all of a sudden 3 weeks later a sign goes up and they're going, oh my God, this doesn't work. They listed with somebody else. What's the problem? Well, okay, but why did that happen?
No relationship was made.
No relation. Just because you went out and dropped the flyer on someone's door, no one's gonna. If someone left something on your door, would you hire them to sell your house? Absolutely not. Is that stupid that they thought just because? Now, if I list a house in 3 weeks or in 2 weeks, and I knocked on your door 2 weeks earlier, and it was my first time, did I have any chance of getting that deal? No, that guy had a relationship. Okay, it was way too, he was already getting ready. He didn't just decide the day before, I'm gonna list it, and the realtor came out, listed it, took pictures, got it on the market. They've been talking about it and thinking about it, correct? The chances of them doing that and you getting that business are slim to none, and to think you're gonna get anything else is juvenile. So I want you to understand this. That's not the way it works. However, if you've done it a few times and you've gone out 2 or 3 times and then they see you, now you get a chance for them to talk to you. Okay, now, if I went out to Chris's door and Chris tells me he's thinking of, okay, Chris, you tell me you're thinking of selling your home. Okay, hey, Chris, it's Mark Moskowitz. I was just checking in with you. We were just canvassing the neighborhood because we have 2 buyers looking for a home right now. And I was just wondering, do you know anyone who's thinking of selling a home in this neighborhood?
Yeah, it's amazing. I was thinking about it.
Oh, perfect. That's great. And if you sell the home, where are you guys going next?
Texas.
Oh, fantastic. Just fed up with California and the high taxes?
Ready to go.
You know what? Unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of people just like you right now. Great. I would love the opportunity to actually talk to you and show you what we do. When would be a convenient time for us to talk?
Let's do something.
No. You have an agent.
Oh, I have an agent.
You'll have an agent. This role playing is tough. You got to remind them. See, I lulled him into it and he just wants to play. Okay, go ahead.
No, I have an agent that I've had for 10 years.
Oh, perfect. So you do have an, have you actually already listed with him? Nope. No, you haven't. Guys, if you listed with him, can I go any further? No, I have to stop.
I was gonna say an old house.
Okay, no. But have you actually listed with him?
Not this one.
Excellent. So obviously this is going to be an important move for you and your family to get down to Texas.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And if I could actually show you a different approach, a different way of doing it that could put more money in your pocket, would you want to know about it?
I would, but what's going to be different about it?
That's exactly why I want to come by and meet with you and show you what we do. In fact, just in the fourth, now the problem is it's harder because you guys don't have this, but I can do this a little bit, okay? But I want to show you why you want to work hard and start to get results so that you can do this, okay? In fact, we just sold 3 more homes. As I told you, we sold 1. We actually have 3 more homes we closed this month. And I want to show you how we were able to create multiple offers on those and get them sold. In fact, on 1 house, we put an extra $35,000 in our seller's pocket. So if we could do that for you, would you want to know about it?
I would.
Tell me again that you're committed to your friend.
I'm way too committed to my friend.
And I appreciate that. See, I'm real clear, Chris. If when I come out, I can't do a better job, you're obviously going to go with your friend because he's obviously you already have a relationship and you're committed to him. However, on the other hand, if I come out and after you see my plan, you say, oh my gosh, I see why Mark sells so many homes, and I see his concierge service where he helps us improve our home and put more money in our pocket can make such a difference for us. Aren't you going to be excited that you had me over and to hear what I have to say?
You know, I'm going to have to talk to my friend Mark Tyron, but I will let you know.
Oh, shit, not Mark. Oh, so is your listing for over $3 million?
Yeah, I hope I can get 5.
Okay, let's say it's 800,000. Okay, is your listing over $5 million?
Probably not.
Yeah, see, if I was listing my $4 million home, I would actually hire Mark to list me. But when we're selling homes in this neighborhood, that's why you want to talk to me, because that's what we do. We specialize in this neighborhood, bringing buyers that love homes just around $1 million. So, Chris, when can we get together so I can show you what I do?
Let's shoot for sometime next week.
Okay, now, I did tell him 2 or 3 times not to say yes, and that's what I used to do. That's how I got good so quick. They would tell me no. I had an answer on how to do that. I'm real clear that if I don't do a better job, you're not going to go with me, okay? So I took the pressure off. So, but if I do a better job, then aren't you going to be excited you had me over, okay? Well, yeah, so now you have a choice. Okay, I have to do a better job. Okay, and so now, if it's Mark, yes, I'm probably in deep doo-doo because he's a great agent. But like when Dave and I used to go up against each other at McLaughlin, because we were number 1 and 2 in Agura, if it was a track home, I'd always say, oh yes, if you're selling a home that's a custom home in the hills, by all means, go with Dave. But a track home like this is my specialty. So well, let me show you how we maximize your return in a track home like this. And I had a chance, but if it was a custom home, I probably was not going to get it. The reality is, Dave and I, as much as we were 1 and 2, I think we've gone up against each other 3 times. I mean, it doesn't happen. There is so much business out there. Don't worry about that. Okay, so coming back real quickly, sorry, to this 19 touches. So for people that we're leading, we're doing 19 touches. If we get an address, one of those touches can be a monthly update of what's going on around their house. That's done automatically. It talks about doing 4 conversations. That can be a little bit hard because we don't always have a phone number there. Okay, but the most important part we do is the phone calling. That's why I'm on the phone calling these people, establishing the relationship. I'm finding out my clients that somebody, oh, we're now thinking of going to Texas. They weren't going anywhere. Oh, COVID is changing it. They want a bigger house. They want a smaller house. All of a sudden, mom needs help. But we don't get that by not talking to people. So make sure you call. On the contacts, you have 36 touches. So what I do is I mail my past clients every single month a postcard. Okay, that's 1 touch. I send them an email every month. That's 24 touches. Most emails get bounced back or they don't open them. I'm clear on that. But that's why I do a postcard that people see. And what I do is I have the homes I sold on the one side and a message about the market. Interest rates are dropping, the market's slowing down, the market's going up. Whatever it is, it's constantly changing. You need tradespeople, we have that. So I pick a different message each month based on the market. I call you 4 times. I will then do events that I'm inviting you to those. And that's how we're constantly staying in touch with you to make it work. Any questions on that? But the key is I got to develop the relationship to make it work. If you don't do that, it won't work. Okay, yes.
Can we do one role play as, so you're a brand new agent, you don't have any of the experience that you do have.
Okay.
Just talk.
So tell me who you're calling.
Just a cold call, just a number I'm calling.
Okay,
It's
so
the
if you were,
first time.
let's say we're doing circle prospecting, okay?
Okay,
Then I would do it just like this. I'm sorry, your first name again was?
Megan,
Megan. Megan?
yes.
Okay,
Megan.
so first of all, I never, if I have their names and I don't know them, I never call them by their name. I am so bad at names. My kids always have, all their friends have these crazy names. I'm always screwing them up. So I do not call you by your name. And if Megan, if I call and go looking for Megan, because it used to be that way, and now I got someone else, oh, you got the wrong number and I'm out. So I just talk to you, okay? So let me think for a second. Okay, perfect. So I just got through preview my properties and I just found the cutest house that's all fixed up, okay? So I'm now gonna call Megan. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, it's Mark Moskowitz with Keller Williams. And we just, sorry, I already screwed it up. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, hi, it's Mark Moskowitz with Keller Williams. And there's a great new listing that just came on the market in our neighborhood over on Main Street. It is 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it is so cute with a white picket fence. And it's only $799. And I was wondering, who do you know who's looking for a great home in our neighborhood?
Thank you for your call, but I'm sorry, I'm not in the process of buying a home and I don't know anybody.
Oh, well, I really appreciate you considering that. And so you said you're not thinking of moving. So how long have you actually lived at this address?
15 years.
Oh, fantastic. And what made you come out here originally?
Schools for our kids.
Oh, perfect. So it's obviously been a good move for you?
Yeah.
Excellent. Now,
Sorry, I'm very busy, you know.
and you know what? You are going to get people like that, and there's nothing we can do. And I just go on to the next one because it's a numbers game. Okay. And believe me, people hang up, people do that, but I don't stop. I just go on to the next one. That's the key. But I am going to get people that want to talk to me, and someone's going to say, oh my gosh, my kids are looking, or I have a friend. Now, in that example, what did I tell you when I said the neighborhood? Our neighborhood. I don't even live in the neighborhood, but if I'm calling it, it's our neighborhood. I work it. Okay. I just make myself part of it. I just assume. Okay. Now I'm not, so you're not to pick on you, but because you're new and you're a little nervous, you're thinking they're not going to want to talk to you. So your voice is going to crack a little bit and you're going to show that. I don't. I'm just calling. Okay. Oh, I'm busy. Oh, I appreciate that. And that's why we're just trying to find someone for this house. Okay. Now, hold on. So let me back up. So let's say you met somebody and they're looking for a house. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to role play with you now. And I just met someone. I'm trying to find a house. Okay. Ring, ring. Hey, it's Mark Moskowitz with Keller Williams, and we have this great buyer. They have 2 little kids, and they're trying to get their first home in our neighborhood, and I can't find anything for them. So I was wondering, do you guys know of anyone who's talking about selling their home in the neighborhood?
I might be interested.
Oh, you are? Fantastic. And if you sold the home, where were you guys thinking of going?
Moving to a new neighborhood because my kids are in college now.
Oh, great. So are you guys looking to get something a little bit bigger or actually do some downsizing?
No, definitely downsizing.
Oh, fantastic. And are you staying here locally in this neighborhood, or are you looking to move out of the area?
Probably move closer to their colleges.
Oh, perfect. And where's that?
Up north.
Oh, perfect. So you're actually thinking of leaving Southern California and going up there.
Yes.
And ideally, how soon would you like to be there?
Whenever they want me around.
Okay, so actually, if we could get your home sold like in the next 30 to 45 days and get you up there before the end of the year, would you want to do it that quickly?
That would be amazing. I'd be there for Christmas.
You could be there for Christmas. Would they want you there that quick?
Probably not.
But if you brought the gifts, it would be okay, right?
Sure.
Perfect. So what I'd love to do is just talk to you a little bit more, set up a meeting to come by and see your house, show you exactly what we're doing.
Oh, but it looks awful.
Don't worry. So I could set it up for Monday. And this way, if you want to do a little cleaning up, that would be fine.
Do you have a cleaning company for me?
Yes, we do. So so now do you need to do work before it goes on the market?
Oh, most likely.
Oh,
My dog chewed the door and the stairs.
okay, great. In fact, one of the things we just did, we just put a house on the market. In fact, we're closing it on Friday. It was the house that he raised his family in, and his son was actually living in the house. He had it appraised in November last year for $730,000. We actually met with him and showed him what we had to do. So we actually spent $23,000 fixing the house up. What we done is we had it painted, took the acoustic ceilings off, put new carpet in, and put in landscaping. And we actually got him $805 for the house. So like I said, he had it appraised for $730, spent 23 was $753, and he got $805. So he got $52,000 more because we came out and showed him how to do that. If we could do that for you, would that work for you?
That would be amazing.
Perfect. So it doesn't matter that it's not all fixed up. I love to come out and see the house really like this week so we can get started and get you to your kid's house by Christmas. So I could come actually like this afternoon when I finish teaching this class, or I could come tomorrow. Which is better for you?
This afternoon would be great.
Perfect. I'll see you then.
You didn't get my information.
I would have gotten your information. Honk, honk, where are you? Okay, and then I'd get obviously your information. However, if I called you, I had your information, but then I would verify.
But I don't know that.
Right, but I would get your information. Sorry, I would get your information.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so that's what you do. So if you have a buyer, you call through the neighborhood doing circular prospecting, trying to find something. Oh, but what if it's not the right house? Well, I don't know until I see the house. Oh, unfortunately, your backyard's not right. Oh, Great, but we can do this for you. Look, in the beginning, you gotta be, are you 100% honest? No, but if you have a buyer, I don't know, I'm not looking at every single house and seeing what it is. I'm calling through the neighborhood trying to find something.
Or you don't have a buyer, but you say you have a buyer.
Again, but hopefully you have somebody that is looking. If you got someone from the internet that's looking for something, or you have a friend who's thinking, great, you can use that to call, but make it someone real is important as you're trying to do this. But it is tough in the beginning when you're brand new. But if you're previewing property and you can find something cute to talk about, makes a huge difference. Okay? That's why I did it with you as something I just saw. And if I have a buyer, I can do it that way. Okay? It's hard work in the beginning. It is well worth it. If you put in time for the next year or two and really work hard, you're going to have an absolutely amazing career. I will tell you, my first year, because I was the manager, and like I told you, I picked someone I trained to work with her because I didn't know the area well enough, and I thought that would be better. So we teamed up, and our first year we did 180,000 in commission, 90 each. I was making $60,000 in my old job. Okay. Second year it didn't work. We broke up, and because I did all the lead generating, she did the transactional work. But she would make it so much work and be beating people up that everyone would hate each other. And she goes, I'm doing all the work. I go, great, I'll do it myself. And then I hired an assistant for half the price, or for like 30,000, kept the money, and I just kept going. Second year I did 150. My third year, I think I did 200. And after that, I never did less than 300,000 in commission. So if you're willing to work hard and just do it, there's a lot of money to be made in this. But it's not easy. And believe me, in the beginning, there were days I went home crying, oh my God, why am I doing this? I want to go back to accounting and get a paycheck. Okay, believe me, there were days. Okay, however, that could only last like an hour. And then my wife kicked me in the butt and sent me back out there again. And then I got a deal. I said, oh wow, this is great. And then I didn't have a deal. Oh my God, this is terrible. Believe me, the first year it's up and down and up and down. Okay. Makes it exciting. Go out there and work, but if you learn the inventory, and it took me about 6 months to understand how to look at inventory. So I just tell you up front, I mean, I was so confused. I had no idea what values were. And I go, this makes no sense. And that's when I came up with the system of just really realizing value at different price points. So I did Agora, then I did Oak Park. And then I said, okay, now let me look and see, is it more expensive in Thousand Oaks, in Westlake, in Moore Park, but I didn't try and look at everything all over the place. Then you get a buyer and you're actually showing them. Believe me, then I learned that for that buyer. Now let's say I get somebody and I've never been there before. What do? No problem. So I had a listing, I sold one of my clients or someone I met from an open house or something. I sold their son a townhome. Parents lived on the beach in Malibu. Call me up, we're thinking of selling our home. Can you recommend an agent to me? Well, I can do that. I had never sold a house in Malibu, and I never sold a house over $1.3 million at the time. I go, great, how much do you think your home is worth? He goes, I think it's worth like $2 million. It's a 1,300 square foot condo on the beach, okay? It's actually at Zuma on top of the cliff. There's stairs to go down to the beach, and he was in the front row so he could look up and down the view. And I go, how'd you come up with that price? Well, the house behind us that was all redone sold for $1.8 million. So, okay, $2 million, what am I gonna do? I looked at every property that was on the market, under contract, or sold in the last 6 months that had a view. So I looked at all the view houses, and I'm looking at some of these houses, and if I stood on the balcony with a rope hanging over, I could see the view. And I realized there were only 2 complexes that had townhomes that really had a view, okay? The one she told me that was really nice, that one so listed for $1.8 million, but they sold it for $1.7 million. So I went out there, I showed them everything, I went over there, and their house, this was probably 2012. So at the height of the market, there was one that sold for 2.2, but nothing had sold in the front row in 4 years. So I went through and I explained to him everything, and I said, look, Nobody can tell you the price of this home, okay? Because we haven't had anything. We can try and go for $2 million and see what happens. We know the other one that was at $1.8 million, and they're looking at our roofs, and then they see the ocean, and we don't have an unobstructed view. So we know that one took 100 off. We could try it at 2 million, and if it doesn't work, then I recommend we lower it to $1.9 million and go from there. Are you willing to do that? Absolutely. Great, and here's what we're gonna do. So I did a postcard as we're waiting to get it ready to everybody. I actually got someone in the back row that wanted the front row. Okay, the person that runs the park is a realtor. She tells me it's worth no more than $1,750,000 in that condition. I was like, okay, don't listen to her. Let's see what we can do. So we put it on the market after doing all the postcards. My client comes in at, Helene brings him at $1.9 million. Oh no, the person in the park brings me an offer $1.8 million. Then Helene gets our people to pay $1.9 million. And all of a sudden I get a call from this person. They were in escrow on a mobile home overlooking Malibu, that they were in escrow for $1.4 million. And they would love to get out and make an offer on our house, but they have to know by Thursday, and this is on Monday. And so they will offer me $2 million for the house. Okay, but they haven't seen the house yet. So I get my people to go up to full price, 2 million. They go to 2.2 million. Okay. So I'm seeing with my people and I go, but they haven't seen the house. So I say to my people, here's what I recommend we do. Now, they were paying cash, the other people, my people had to get a loan. And the problem was, I don't know if I can get this thing to appraise because we haven't had anything sell this high. So I say to the owners, I recommend we take these people for 2.2. We'll have them come down on Wednesday. If they do not accept the house for 2.2, then we'll accept my offer at $2 million full price and go that route. Oh my God, can we do it? That's a great idea. So now I have my clients in the backup, and they came down, loved it, and bought the house. Okay, but I was an expert because I saw every house and talked to them about it, but I couldn't tell you an exact price because it didn't work. Does that make sense? That was the fun. So that's what I want to say. So we want to conclude this. We want to set up our database. We want to feed it. We want to call it and keep nurturing it, because that's the key to this business. So I hope this was, I know it was a little bit all over the place, but I wanted to spend more time on the scripts because that's what you guys don't have. So I hope the scripts were helpful for that and what to say and what to do. But make sure you're calling people. Texting doesn't work. It's great to start the conversation and then get them in a conversation, because I can hear what you want to say and I can find a way to make an appointment. Any last, okay, real quick, just go around. What's one big aha you got out of this, Chris?
I just need to be doing more.
Way more. Nope, you gotta pick something else, because everyone can say they should be doing more. So you gotta pick something else. I talked for 2 hours. You had to get something more than do more.
Just working hard in the beginning, you have to cry for an hour and get on back to the hard work.
Yep, Carlos?
When you said, or what is it? Oh, the 2 yes answers or whatever?
Oh, right, okay. No, give them that, makes it a lot easier to tell you the truth. Okay,
The importance of like looking at 10 properties a day by price point, by area.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Area before.
believe me, you do that, it gives you all the confidence. Once you know something, and believe me, there are agents that have been in the business 3, 4, 5 years that don't know the market, and they're a bunch of bumbling idiots. It's amazing. That gives you the confidence. That's really all you guys are lacking. The contracts you can learn later. Once you know values and you know why that home sold, you can tell me what my home is worth. And if you take, when I first started, I would go out and preview any appointment I went on. I looked at every house beforehand. I'd show up an hour early and see the houses beforehand because I couldn't tell enough. And then I would drive through and see the view. How's the backyard? Is it back up to the busy street, not the busy street? And then I could say why this is better or worse. And I could do a CMA right there when I was there because I knew the area, because I did my homework. Do a little bit more homework up front and you guys will be unbelievable, okay?
Oh,
Kristen?
don't take it personally. You'll get no's. Just keep going forward.
Absolutely. Believe me, I have been rejected more than anyone in this building, so I do the most lead generating. Believe me. Okay, I don't even notice it any. Oh, I gotta share one more thing, sorry. So when I first started, I took someone, I used to take it personal, okay? So I take someone out door knocking with me, and I'm trained her, and we did, and now she's going on her own. And I go, how did it go? Oh my God, Mark, that person says, I think Mark's an idiot. And I go, really? He goes, I've told him a number of times we're not going anywhere, and he keeps coming back. Okay, great. This person says, my mother's a realtor, and I don't know why Mark comes here. I do not keep track of that. I just go door to door. It takes too long to keep track of the few people. I go, really? That's what I use. What else? Oh man, Mark, there were like 5 people that said, you are so lucky to work with Mark. He is like the hardest working guy. He really knows the stuff. I go, why didn't you lead with that? When we start, we only notice the no's and the fact that we got yelled at. I did the same thing. Don't do that. I don't even care. I'm just looking when I go out each day, I'm looking for 1 more person to put in the database, 2 more people to put in the database. I don't care about the no's. I'm not going to let the no's stop me. Okay. Really important lesson.
I realized that when you're speaking, it's pretty neat. Your voice changes when you're pretending that you're talking to a client, and it's so calm and so much really relaxed. And
Now, when I started, I was like a bull in a china. When I was 29, I was at your door. I was like barrel you over. And when I do class, I can talk fast. I can't talk because when I'm asking you questions, I need you to think. The reason I'm asking questions is not for me to know the answers. It's help you get clarity.
Yeah.
But if I just run over a good line, it doesn't penetrate. I need you to think is okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's important. I have to keep
I have to mirror match you. Look, when I used to go in the door and they were Asian, I'm bowing and I'm standing back. I used to go to the door and I would get too close and they're like, oh my God, who's this guy at the door? Okay, so now I stand back. If they're older, I'm very respectful. Believe me, I can be 10 different people. Okay, last time, now you got to tell us one. Did you come up with an uh-huh?
I need to work more on leads and just being patient. I'm not patient.
Yes, it is. Believe me, it's all in the follow-up. No one comes to the door and says, I wanted to sell my house. I was waiting for you to come, Mark. It's in the follow-up. All the money's in the follow-up. So I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
How long to learn, like, for example, the difference in valuation between a 2-bed and a 3-bed?
Okay, somebody say that again?
So how long to learn the difference
Oh,
in
yeah,
valuation, specific number wise? So like a 2-bed or a 3-bed, or a 2-bed to a 3-bed in Westlake, for example. Who would I talk to?
No, just start looking at what they sold for and you'll see. What are 2 bedrooms going for versus a 3 bedroom? And you'll start to see, oh, they got 20,000 more, but it's gonna be also